Canelo wins on points in the rematch. Yes! I told you my man Canelo was going to come through on points in 12 rounds, bruv. Why are you pissed? You was vexed. We've been arguing all morning, all afternoon. I was ready to bite this guy's nose off. He was saying this was a close fight. I'm sorry, he was saying it wasn't a close fight. He's saying it was a robbery. It was a robbery, he says. Just because Golovkin didn't win. How is it a robbery, bro?
Are you done?
How is it a robbery?
Are you done?
I'm done.
Are you done?
I'm done. Come on.
You're nonsense.
Come on.
Do you know why Canelo was going to win on points? Do you know why he was going to win on points?
Why is it?
Mexican Independence Day, Las Vegas. I'm sorry. That's twice. He's been done over twice. That fight yesterday, everyone goes to me, oh yeah, this matey here. Oh, some of the stuff this guy comes out with. Listen, he's like, oh yeah. He goes, oh, because he took the center of the ring. He was more aggressive. Listen, he was made to miss. He was out. He was out jabbed. He was outworked. Mate, he was falling short the whole time. And a lot of the times, oh, he's getting all these shots off. If you watch that fight closely and you look at Triple G's defense, how many times did he get clean shots in comparison to Triple G? I'll wait. Exactly. Every shot, glancing. Triple G's defense, every single time, he's getting shots off. He's getting half the glove and maybe landed on him halfway. Every time the Triple G threw shots, hitting clean shots. As far as I'm concerned, that fight yesterday, for people to turn around and say because he was the aggressor, because he took the center of the ring, he got the decision, is laughable, because that is not the case. If that's the case, and I know it's different judges or whatever, but the principles of boxing still apply. If that's the case, then it's a farce. It's even more of a farce that he didn't win the first fight, Triple G, because he did that, and then no one gave him nothing for it. Oh yeah, but no, because Canelo boxed quite well. He evaded the shots. So what about now? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. There's no consistency in it. And as far as I'm concerned, that decision yesterday was wrong. You watch that fight again. You look at the shots that he's thrown loads of shots. Look at the amount of times that Matey's defense was tight. All the shots that he's slipping. Nah, as far as I'm concerned, it's a bad decision. And that is the reason why people look at boxing and think, well, it gets a bad reputation. As far as I'm concerned, that's my opinion.
Puta, who dictated the pace of the fight? Answer the question. We'll answer the question.
You say who dictated the pace of
the
fight?
fight? No. Just answer that specific question. Then we go on to the questions that you got from me, and I'll answer them.
Specific,
yeah?
you sick fuck. But listen,
who dictated the pace of that fight? In your opinion,
define dictated the pace of that fight. Just because he stood in the middle of the ring.
It's not just that, is it? Golovkin, how many times have you seen the guy tracking backwards, bruv? He was panting towards the end of the fight. I'm not saying that Canelo finished strong for me.
Canelo finished strong for you?
Yeah, he did.
Canelo finished strong.
12th round.
Okay, so you're saying to me that towards the latter rounds, you're saying, oh, he was panting. Those latter rounds, who won the latter rounds?
I would give Golovkin from about 8 to, we said about...
And you just said
10.
he was panting. So he's a better fighter. His footwork was better. He was making him miss. He's making him fall short and getting better shots off. I'm sorry.
So why is it for you that Golovkin won so clearly? Just because he landed the heavier punches? Is that
no, it's not heavier punches. It's not heavier punches. He was the better boxer on the night.
No, he wasn't.
He was the better boxer.
So who gave the most variety of shots?
What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. This is what I have to deal with. This is what I have to do. You ask a question, you can't answer it.
The guy gets vexed. He's got vexed. He's getting. We're having a debate. This is meant to be a debate, bruv. Why are you getting all aggy for, bruv? Just because your man lost. This is what I get. Golovkin, he lost his first fight and he doesn't want to talk to mans. There's been loads of decisions in boxing where people don't get your way. And he just went off like a bitch crying, bruv. You don't want to talk to no one. Get out of here, man. Just because the decision got you done. Because you asked
me a question a minute ago and you're still going. Right? So if you listen to... He gave an interview this morning and he actually gave a very humble interview. And for me, he did that because he knows that whatever happens here doesn't make a difference. Whatever's happened, he's been stitched up, but what can he do, right? Nothing. You're talking about variety of shots. Look at the shots that Matey caught Canelo with. Everything he threw, he was getting through. He was shaking him. The guy's head was popping back every single time because he threw such a variation of shots. Don't get me wrong, Canelo is quicker. We knew he's always going to be quicker, right? So yes, he did make Triple G miss at times. But what about those times when Canelo was out on his feet? When he was just there trying to throw shots and Matey just evading it and getting his shots off, getting the better work done. As far as I'm concerned, in that fight, Canelo had to do something different because he was like, whatever I do, I have to do something different in this fight. The other thing I want to say is I don't think that Canelo was ever going to lose that fight yesterday on points. I don't think he was ever going to lose that fight on points just because of the intricacies in the of it being the occasion that it was and it being in Vegas. I don't think Canelo was going to lose a decision. You were going to get a draw or you're going to get a Canelo decision, right? That's how I don't think that fight should have been taking place in Vegas. I think it's Mexican Independence Day. Canelo will fight on Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Day. right? That fight should have been taken somewhere else. I know that everyone talks about our boxing being the capital, but listen, it's the Mexicans in there were going nuts for him, whatever. For me, I would like to put this out to other people, boxing fans, to say the shots that Canelo was trying to get off, the amount of times that he was hitting gloves, the sounds it makes, all that stuff, it was hitting gloves. Canelo was chasing that fight towards the end of the fight, and he was getting desperate. And anyone who disbelieves that, even Canelo himself, going into that last round, in his head, he was like, I need to do something special here because I'm behind in this fight. That decision at the end, it caught everybody off guard. Now, if you're saying to why he didn't do the interview, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I would have been able to, because I think Triple G won that fight, and I think that's twice, 2 decisions he's had go against him. In my opinion, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. In my opinion, that's 2 decisions that have gone against him, which I don't agree with, and I think I'd struggle to be able to give an interview if I disagree with the decision that badly.
So for you, it's a robbery then?
I don't think
that's because you're saying the decision that's come out is so bad that you couldn't do the interview. No.
I'd be so annoyed that I think I'd say something. If that was me personally, and if it put me in that situation, I think I would have said something that would be untoward, which I don't want that to, it's easy to ruin reputation. It's hard to gain reputation, right? To build your reputation, it's easy to say something and lose it, but it's hard to build it back up, as far as I'm concerned. So, took himself out the equation.
Every fighter loses a fight. I'm sure he's disheartened and not happy that he's lost, right? And nobody wants to do that. Wants to have that conversation. Same with football managers, anyone. They don't want to have that conversation straight
after. You see, football managers send their number 2s out. They don't always give interviews.
I'm sorry. No, but all I'm saying is you've lost your first fight and then you've gone storming off. Now, so you're saying storming off because you felt it was that one side that you'd be so pissed off.
Listen, you're saying robbery. All I'm saying is I think that decision was wrong. I think that's 2 decisions he had wrong go against him. The first fight, which was given as a draw, I don't think it was a draw. That's, again, my opinion. This fight, I'm even more inclined to think this was a Triple G victory. So, I think if people talk about, just because he took the centre of the ring and he's trying to be the aggressor, that means nothing. That means nothing, because in the first fight, when Triple G did that, stood there and mate, he was trying to run away, he got nothing for it. He got no credit for it. Shock. That was, again, Vegas. Okay. And he was going to get a decision. Very interesting. But what I'm saying is, yesterday, that fight, for me, if I was Triple G, I'd be raging. You're throwing shots. I've seen your shots. I've done enough to block your shots. Don't get me wrong. If you step into water, expect to get wet. There was times that, I'm not saying Canelo didn't land shots. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I think Triple G landed a lot more shots, a lot more cleaner shots. He out-jabbed him, he out-boxed him, and he made Matey miss, and he was getting the cleaner shots off and doing the better work. Towards the end of that round, Canelo knew he was chasing that fight. In the back of his mind, he thought, I have to do something here because I'm chasing this fight. Triple G was putting on, towards the back end of that fight, was putting on a masterclass, as far as I'm concerned. Making Matey miss, getting his shots off, getting the cleaner shots off, doing the work that was being more effective, in my opinion, and he got a decision that was unjust.
The reason, my point on this fight, is I don't think that Golovkin outboxed Canelo, not at all. What I do agree with is that Golovkin's work was a lot smarter. So when I'm saying that the guy who handled the pace of the fight was Canelo, because I think that he was outboxing him and outworking Golovkin, but Golovkin's shots were a lot cleaner and smarter. So for me, it's like, there's 2 different things. We discussed this, right? There's one landing, and there's one you're saying which are heavy, devastating blows. For me personally, you can't mix the 2. You either land, and there's one thing of landing, and there's one thing of devastating blows. Now, going into this fight that Golovkin is going to hit the bigger punches. He's going to have the more devastating blows. So you're saying he was screaming at the screen saying, look at the state of that shot and look how his head is getting backed up. Now, it's a fair playing field, right? So you got to say is that he's going to hit the heavier blows, and Canelo, like you said, is going to be slightly faster. It doesn't mean that you give them the points based upon their attributes, but on a playing field, the shots that have landed. Now, for me, you're saying that he hits the glove. Now,
that baffles me is that if you're telling me that if you still get points, when Triple G has had his hands here and Matey's throwing a shot, and he's taking a lot of the impact on gloves, and then he still slips and he gets some contact on Triple G's face. I don't know what the definitions of scoring are. Is that deemed a scoring shot? Because that's where I'm a bit like, well, maybe that's where I'm baffled then. Because for me, if his hands are up and he's taking most of the impact on glove, and there is still some, because he's here and it's still taking the impact, but there is still a shot landing, is that a scoring shot? Because if that is the case, then maybe it's a different story. If that's the case. But in boxing, if you're stepping into a ring and you're having a fight, there are going to be these things. You are going to get hit. There are going to be shots taken. I just believe that his Triple G's defense was better, and he absorbed a lot more shots on gloves and arms than he did, actually scoring shots, because he knew what was coming. He's like, right, I can block this and then I'll do my work. That's my opinion. And as I said, we've had someone watch the fight again and message me, who disagreed with me initially, who messaged me saying, looking back at the fight, I think Triple G would have won. With the points that I made, with those points, and I'm not saying that, oh my God, I'm right, I should be right into the boxing. I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying is that he's gone back to me and said, I can see your angle. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I sat there and I thought, as a boxer and as Triple G, you're saying, I've come into here with a game plan. I know what I'm doing. I'm looking to make him miss for these reasons. This is how I'm going to absorb his shots. And this is how I'm going to do my work. And then you get a decision like that. For me, I'd be fuming. It is a matter of opinion. It is a matter of opinion. End of the day, the decision's gone to him, so that's going to go down in history, whatever. But that's my opinion.
So what respect are you giving to Canelo? I want to hear that, because you haven't given, from everything you've said, you've given zero respect to Canelo from what his work that he's done.
I'm not going to. How can you? I've said it's one of the best fights I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was the best fight.
One of the best I've ever seen. So how's that not giving him respect?
So what? No, what did he do good for you then?
He kept coming. He kept coming.
It?
He kept coming.
Is that it?
He took shots.
So yeah, what's the good things? He kept coming. He took shots. So
he showed heart. He showed a lot of heart in that fight. For me, I think, and again, this goes back to that point I made, that going into that last round, he looked a defeated fighter, and he just left it all out there, and he thought, I'm just going to go for it. And I think he did that through the fight. Even there's times when he got caught. He got caught, and I thought to myself, he could go here, and he found a way to keep coming back. End of the day, that might be the jungle juice that he's been using. Who knows? That might be that contaminated meat. We don't know. But all I'm saying is he showed a lot of heart. He showed a lot of character to keep coming. And I think that is, essentially what I'm hearing from everybody that believes he won the fight is because he was the aggressor that he won the fight. So if that is the case, then I'm sorry, but
So Golovkin for you outworked Canelo. Is that what you're saying?
I think his work, the shots he got off, were the work that he done.
So he didn't outwork him, was smarter, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
No. You have to. Yes and no. I think the reason I say that is because Canelo was coming forward, kept coming. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You give him credit for that because he did keep coming, right? And he was trying to be the aggressor and be the enforcer. But for me, what I'm saying is Triple G's realised that, noticed that, and said, right, okay, cool. There's going to be some adjustments that need to take place. And I think he got the smarter work done, the cleverer work done, and he outboxed him because he realised what he's trying to do, and he found ways to negate that. And that, for me, is better boxing and outworking him because he's outthinking him and he's doing better work.
For me, there was times where I thought Golovkin wasn't in charge of the fight. I just think that he was using his jab very well. His jab was amazing in that fight. But there was times that Canelo was getting off the better work. Like I said, the variety of shots, body, but just some serious body shots. He did hit Golovkin. And for me, he used his jab to get through some rounds. And I definitely agree with you in the sense that some of the shots that Golovkin hit was nice, clean shots, and it was smarter work. But outboxing him and outworking him, I would disagree. I think Canelo was outworking him, outboxing him, but there was smarter work from Golovkin. There was a massive part in the chunk of the fight for me was between, probably 5 to 10. I thought Golovkin was looking very strong, right? I think he was looking very strong. But there's other rounds, but the way Canelo started, he was out the blocks very fast. And he was making Golovkin miss a lot in the beginning. You haven't mentioned anything about that. You've mentioned about how he's made the other guy miss, but Golovkin was missing loads of shots at the beginning. He wasn't in his normal way going forward, dictating the fight. He wasn't. He was on his back foot most of the fight. And then there was times, what you're saying, you thought Golovkin landed a big blow, and then Canelo would come back with 4, 5, 6 combination, and he just looked saying, basically, I'm not phased at all. So the question I want to ask you is that you were going on in for the fight that it was it was a shock, it was a robbery, and that it should never happen. But then as soon as the fight finished, there were pundits in there who had the fight. I don't give a shit about some of the pundits. I agree with you, right, and their points, but they've actually watched the fight. They're boxers as well, right? And they said it was a close fight, and they've got people drawing. They've got Canelo 2 rounds up. You've spoken to people as well who've been watching boxing, following boxing for a long time, and they've had Canelo 2 rounds up. So, are you willing to accept that maybe the way you viewed the fight is not as it was?
I've got no choice but to accept that. I've got no choice. Whether I agree with it if that's the question you asked me. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. I've got to accept it because that's what's been given.
Yeah.
Do I think it's fair? No, I don't. Do I accept it? I've got no choice because that's what's been given. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's the right. I think it's unjust. I don't agree with it. But I've got to accept it. I've got no choice.
Is it a close fight? Or
I think. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the. You don't have a fight labelled as one of the best fights you've ever seen if it ain't close. So do you know what I mean? Let's just put it into perspective. You're saying, I'm not giving him credit. Of course I have. I've said it's one of the best fights I've ever seen. I'd want to see it again. I'd want to see that again for I'd watch it 5 times if it was available. 2 guys get in the ring, put it all on the line, and have scrap. But I don't think that was the right decision. That's my opinion. I don't think that some of the pundits that gave their views, there's a certain broken toe person that wants to give his opinion. Get the fuck out of here. That's what I'm going to say. You still looking for your performance. You're still riding off your money off the Bellew fight, which he made you because you were nothing. You were, don't even go down there. And the other one is, Banshee, that's a great fight. Do you know what I mean? Nah, I'm not having it. Listen, there's people who were commenting on the fight on HBO in it, and those guys, they had it. They agreed with what I was saying. They were seeing the same fight that I was seeing. There's people that we've seen. There's another person on one of the American broadcasts who felt it was a robbery. Now, listen, I'm not saying at the time I was raging because I think it's harsh to have 2 decisions go against you. Listen, I'm not Canelo's. We've always watched his fights, and you've liked him a lot more than I have over the years. But I'm always going to watch Canelo fights because he's exciting. That's what you know what you're going to get. Do I think the decision might have gone to him because he's younger? He's going to fill more arenas in Vegas. He's going to make them more money. I think that's got a big thing to do with it. I'll be honest with you because I think the fight itself. I think over the 2 fights, I think Triple G has been given a raw deal. That's my opinion. As I said, are you willing to accept it? I've got no choice. You have to accept that decision because it's been given. It doesn't matter what what I believe or what I think. It's my opinion. Do I accept it? I've got no choice. Do I agree with it? No, and I don't think I will. Unless I sit down with somebody. I've watched that fight a few times over already, and I'm still seeing it the way I've said it. So,
one thing that annoys me and frustrates me a lot is the commentators. If you watch a fight and take the sound off, it'll make a huge difference because they have their own biased opinions and they start putting their opinions on viewers. Like some of the shit that they're coming out with, this fight's so one-sided, or he's won this round clearly, he's been dictating the fight, all this kind of stuff. Have you realised that makes a huge difference? And the other thing I would say is,
not to me it didn't, but
no, if you turn the fight off and watch it without no volume and no fucking people talking shit, it makes a difference. That's what I genuinely believe. I think some people like even the scorecard on when we was watching the fight, they were saying, "Oh, it's so on one side to Golovkin," and I sat there quietly because I totally believed that it was a close fight and it was going to be maybe 1 round 2 in it. But the other thing I wanted to say was, when you actually like a boxer, this is a question I asked viewers. When you actually like a boxer, do you think it makes a difference in the way that you judge a fight? Now that's an honest question. Like, I'm pro.
It's tough because you're saying as if I don't like Canelo.
I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is for general, for even me personally, I'm saying maybe I scored it wrong. I'm willing to accept that because I thought Canelo won the fight, but did I maybe judge it wrong based upon that? I'm a big fan of Canelo and I see his work, thinking, oh, he's doing really well. I'm asking questions to the viewers and the general fans. Is that do you think does it make some sort of difference?
I don't know. I think, like I said, the reason I jumped in there is that it's difficult for me because I love Canelo. I think Canelo's have watched a lot of his fights. I just think that Triple G was the winner. That, in my opinion, and it's difficult because even the Mayweather fight, I'm a massive Mayweather fan, and I watched Mayweather Triple G, and I was at Canelo and thought, if some buts and stuff like that. I watched when Amir Khan got in the ring with Canelo. And I was, I'm obviously pro. I wanted Khan to win the fight. I don't think he was. He obviously didn't. But you're still looking at Canelo thinking, oh, that's good, that was good, that was good. Everyone else was saying, oh, Khan's winning this fight. He's doing this, and I'm still there thinking, oh, but this and but that. So it's difficult because I've got a soft spot for Canelo as well. I just didn't think that that fight was these last 2 fights were in his favour, but. There's every chance it does cloud your judgment, but then they're saying that what's in it for the commentators? I mean, if they're just there to watch a fight. There's a guy that's he's been a pro himself. He's just watching a boxing fight and he's calling it how he sees it. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's a good thing to ask to the viewers, but I don't necessarily think think so. I don't know. Not for me.
So, finish it off in here. So the fight is finished very closely. And in my opinion, you thought it was Golovkin. What do you think happens now for Golovkin and Canelo? And where do they go from here?
I think it's weird now because Triple G's not getting any younger, right? And he's got nothing to prove to anybody, as far as I'm concerned. He's got nothing to prove.
For me, yes.
Well, to come back and beat him.
No. It's like, why don't you vote Billy Joe Saunders? Why? Oh, wait. You are a middleweight champion. You had all those belts. And yet you still ain't vote Billy Joe Saunders, who's had that belt for a very long time. And I've always said this to you. I think you've agreed with me, actually, that Billy Joe Saunders would actually beat Triple G. And he would give him a great fight.
I think Billy Joe Saunders is a very underrated fighter, and I think he's quite comfortable where he is. I think he's one of those that is like, it's one of them situations for him where he's like, if the Triple G fight comes along, then okay, let's have it, brilliant. If it doesn't, so what? I'm still world champion. It's a tough fight. Billy Joe Saunders is a slick operator and is very underrated, right? So I think it'd be a tough fight for Triple G. But the one thing, again, it comes back to for me is that I watched that fight last night and I thought Triple G's footwork was immense. And I've always thought Billy Joe Saunders has got really good footwork. But I think the difference between Billy Joe Saunders and potentially Triple G is that Billy Joe Saunders' head movement and footwork's very good. And I think he'd be quite elusive. It's just whether or not he can take the blows that Canelo took. And most other middleweights have taken from Triple G. Some of the shots he throws, the heavy hands that he's got. I don't know if Billy Joe Saunders is going to be, obviously you'd have to hit him first, but it's whether or not he'd be able to sustain, the high work rate with taking those sort of shots.
To finish up now, so with the viewers, I ask you is that we do not agree. So I am Team Canelo. He is Golovkin on this. Help us out. Let us know how you saw the fight. Who won for you? Do you think he's seeing it way wrong? Do you think I'm wrong? Like I said, I've never seen Golovkin step backwards. I've never seen him look that bad after a fight in terms of cuts and stuff like that. Even Canelo, he wasn't looking pretty at the end of the fight. But help us out. Let us know. Get to share, like, and subscribe. See you for the next fight. Peace.